Okay, so we're diving into intuition today, something I know you've been wanting to explore more deeply.
Yeah.
I think we've all had those moments where a decision just feels right,
Right.
or maybe we get this sudden sense of unease
Mm-hmm.
that we can't explain, but like, how much can we trust those gut feelings, really?
Well, that's a question that's intrigued people, I think, for centuries.
Yeah.
But what's really fascinating is that intuition is no longer considered like some mystical phenomenon.
Oh, okay.
Like we can actually define it
Right.
as a form of rapid cognition.
Okay.
It's like your brain processing information faster than your conscious mind can keep up with.
Wow.
And scientists are even studying it now.
Really?
Yeah, as a real cognitive function.
That's so interesting. So it's not just vibes
Right.
or some magical sixth sense?
No.
There's actual science behind it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Think of it this way. Your brain is constantly gathering data, right?
Uh-huh.
From your experiences, your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
even subtle cues in your environment.
Okay.
Intuition is kind of like your subconscious mind
Okay.
piecing together all these puzzle pieces,
Wow.
like behind the scenes.
Uh,
And it's giving you these insights that logic alone might miss.
it really is like having an internal supercomputer then.
Right.
Yeah, working on our behalf.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it is.
Could you give us an example, like how this might play out in real life?
Sure. Have you ever had that experience of meeting someone new
Mm-hmm.
and despite them seeming friendly,
Yeah.
you just felt uneasy?
Hmm.
Like something wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
And then later on,
Yeah.
you discover that your gut feeling was spot on.
Yeah.
That's intuition tapping into
Okay.
all those subtle signals that you might not consciously register,
Interesting.
drawing on past experiences and patterns to guide you.
I've definitely been in situations like that
Yeah.
where I ignored that initial feeling and regretted it later.
Right.
And I wonder if it's almost like a survival mechanism
Mm-hmm.
to help us avoid potential danger.
There's a very strong possibility of that.
What?
Researchers believe that intuition might be linked to our evolutionary past.
Wow.
We're quickly assessing a situation,
Right.
even without complete information.
Yeah.
Could have meant the difference between,
Oh,
safety and danger.
that's incredible. But then here's the thing.
Mhm.
Even though we all have this incredible ability,
Yeah.
a lot of us struggle to trust it.
Right.
Why is that?
That's the paradox.
Yeah.
If it's so natural,
Always right.
why do we second guess ourselves so much?
Yeah, why don't we always listen to those inner nudges?
Well, there's actually a lot of reasons for that.
Okay.
First, we got to acknowledge
Yeah.
we live in a society that often prioritizes logic and reason
Mm-hmm.
over feelings and intuition.
Right.
From a young age, we're encouraged to analyze,
Mm-hmm.
think critically,
Mm.
justify our decisions.
Right.
And we're just bombarded with data,
Yeah.
expert opinions,
Mm-hmm.
which can lead to, overthinking and analysis paralysis.
Mm.
It's almost like we've been conditioned to distrust our own inner knowing.
It's true. We're constantly being told to look before you leap.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes all that thinking can stop us from taking any action at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all that mental noise makes it difficult to hear those quieter whispers of our intuition.
Right. And let's be honest, we've all made decisions that haven't turned out how we hoped.
Right.
And those experiences, especially if they had negative consequences,
Yeah.
they can make us question our judgment
Uh-huh.
and make us hesitant to trust ourselves in the future.
Right. It's like that old saying, once bitten, twice shy.
Exactly.
A bad experience can definitely make you hesitant to rely on your gut again.
For sure.
But here's the interesting thing.
Okay.
Sometimes those past mistakes
Yeah.
might have been the result of ignoring our intuition.
Oh.
Not because we followed it.
Oh, that's a good point.
And it's not just internal factors either.
Right.
The world we live in today is full of external influences
Mm-hmm.
that can really drown out that inner voice.
It's true.
Think about the constant information from social media,
Oh, yeah.
the pressure to conform
Mm-hmm.
to societal expectations,
Yeah.
just the sheer volume of choices
Right.
we face every day.
It's
It's
overwhelming.
no wonder we struggle to hear our own inner wisdom.
That's such a good point. It's like we're surrounded by all these voices
Yeah.
telling us what we should be doing, what we should be thinking, that it's almost impossible to distinguish our own authentic voice from all the noise.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about the impact of past trauma or difficult experiences.
Right.
If someone has been in situations
Mm.
where their feelings were dismissed
Right.
or invalidated,
Mm-hmm.
It can be so challenging to trust your
I
instincts.
can imagine.
Like they've learned to shut down that part of themselves as a form of self-protection.
Self-preservation almost.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If your intuition has been repeatedly ignored or even punished,
Yeah.
it's understandable why you might hesitate to rely on it in the future.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about the fact that most of us are just busy.
Right.
We're juggling work and family, social commitments, and we're constantly connected to technology. And it's like we're on autopilot most of the time.
Right.
And that doesn't leave much room for quiet reflection or tuning into ourselves.
That's a crucial observation
Yeah.
because living on autopilot can hinder our connection to our intuition when we're constantly bombarded with stimuli, rushing from one thing to the next.
Yeah.
It's hard to create space for those subtle intuitive nudges to come through.
I'll get it.
It's like trying to hear a whisper in a crowded room.
Right.
You have to step away from the noise to really listen.
You need to find a quiet corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've talked about all the reasons why we might lose touch with our intuition.
Yeah.
But now I'm really curious to learn how we can start to reconnect with that inner wisdom, the source we talked about.
Right.
Mentioned 7 strategies.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin?
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when we're so used to
Right.
operating from that place of logic and reason.
Yeah.
But the good news is
Okay.
reconnecting with our intuition is a skill we can develop.
Oh.
It's like strengthening a muscle that's been neglected.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And one of the most effective starting points is quieting that external noise
Okay.
that's bombarding us constantly.
That makes sense. If we're always plugged in,
Uh-huh.
scrolling through social media,
That's
or
it.
surrounded by chatter,
Right.
it's no wonder we can't hear those subtle, intuitive whispers.
Exactly.
But for someone who's used to being on all the time, the idea of quieting my mind feels a bit daunting.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any practical tips for how to actually do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
It's about finding practices that work for you
Yeah.
and gradually incorporating them into your life.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't have to be hours of silent meditation,
Okay.
although that can be incredibly beneficial.
Okay.
Even 5 or 10 minutes
Yeah.
of dedicated quiet time can make a difference.
Okay.
Just find a peaceful spot,
Mm-hmm.
close your eyes,
Yeah.
and simply focus on your breath.
Yeah.
Observe the rise and fall of your chest,
Okay.
the flow of air in and out of your nostrils.
I've tried meditation before,
Yeah.
and I always struggle with those racing thoughts. Is it even possible to completely clear your mind?
It's totally normal for thoughts to pop up,
Okay.
especially when you're first starting out.
Right.
Don't judge yourself or get discouraged.
Okay.
The key is to gently redirect your attention back to your breath. Whenever you notice your mind wandering,
Right.
it's like training a puppy.
Okay.
It takes patience and repetition.
Okay.
You can also experiment with guided meditations.
Oh, yeah.
There are tons of apps and online resources
Right.
that offer guided visualizations,
Yeah.
nature sounds, soothing music
That's true.
to help you relax and focus.
I've heard a lot of good things about those apps. Might have to give one a try.
Yeah.
So we're quieting the external noise,
Right.
but the source also emphasized tuning into our bodies.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because our bodies are incredibly intelligent and they're constantly communicating with us,
Okay.
sending these subtle signals and cues
Yeah.
that reflect our inner state.
Yeah.
The challenge is learning to pay attention to those messages.
Okay.
Think about those classic gut feelings we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They often manifest as physical sensations.
You mean like a knot in your stomach?
Yeah.
When something feels off.
Exactly.
Or butterflies when you're excited.
Yes, yes.
I've definitely experienced those.
Right.
But I never really thought of them as connected to intuition.
They're prime examples.
Wow.
You might feel a sense of lightness and expansion in your chest
Okay.
when you're aligned with a decision,
Uh-huh.
or a tightness in your throat
Yeah.
when you're trying to ignore your inner knowing.
Oh, wow.
There's a growing body of research on the gut-brain connection,
Okay.
which suggests that our gut is literally sending signals to our brain
Oh, wow.
that can influence our emotion,
That's fascinating.
our thoughts, even our decisions.
So our gut really is talking to us.
Yes.
It is. That's so cool, but how do we start to, like,
Right.
decipher those messages?
Yeah.
It seems like it could be easy to misinterpret those sensations.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a matter of practice and awareness.
Okay.
So start by simply becoming a curious observer of your own body.
Okay.
Throughout the day, just pause for a moment.
Yeah.
Tune in to what you're feeling physically.
Mm-hmm.
Are your shoulders tense?
Yeah.
Is your jaw clenched?
Right.
Do you feel a warmth in your heart?
Okay.
Just notice those sensations without judgment.
So it's not just about paying attention to our bodies when we're making a big decision,
Right.
but really cultivating an awareness
Yes.
of those subtle cues throughout the day.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like becoming attuned to the soundtrack of your body.
I love that analogy.
Noticing the shifts in rhythm,
Yeah.
the changes in volume,
Okay.
the different instruments that come into play.
Yeah.
The more you practice, the more familiar you'll become
Yeah, okay.
with your own unique body language
Yeah.
and the messages that's conveying.
It's like we're learning to speak our body's language.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so cool. You know,
Yeah.
I tend to get overwhelmed when I think about making big life decisions
Yeah.
based on intuition.
Mhm.
It feels like a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
The source mentioned starting small. Can you explain what that looks like?
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to build confidence and trust in your intuition
Yeah.
instead of trying to make those monumental choices right away.
Right.
Just practice with everyday decisions.
Okay.
Like, what do you feel drawn to wear today? What do you want to eat for lunch?
Okay.
Do you want to take the scenic route home or the highway?
Right.
These might seem like trivial choices,
Yeah.
but they offer these wonderful opportunities
Right.
to flex your intuition muscle.
It's like any new skill.
Exactly.
You start with the basics and gradually work your way up to more complex things.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And by starting small,
Okay.
you can begin to see how often your intuition's guiding you
Oh, okay.
in the right direction.
That's a good point.
It's also a great way to notice
Uh-huh.
those subtle body sensations we were talking about.
Right.
Do you feel a sense of ease and excitement
Yeah.
when you choose one option over another?
Okay.
Does your energy expand or contract?
So we're not just making a random choice.
Right.
We're really tuning into
Yeah.
how each option feels in our body
Yeah.
and choosing based on that internal compass.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, what about looking back at past decisions?
Yeah,
Does that play a role?
absolutely.
Okay.
The source suggests keeping a journal
Okay.
where you reflect on those moments when you either followed your intuition
Yeah.
and things worked out beautifully,
Right.
or when you ignored it and later wished you hadn't.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have plenty of examples I could write down.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way to approach that reflection?
Be specific.
Okay.
Instead of just writing, I ignored my gut and it was a disaster.
Right.
Really delve into the details.
Okay.
What was the situation?
Yeah.
What was the intuitive nudge you felt? What were the factors that led you to ignore it?
Okay.
What happened as a result?
Right.
And what did you learn from that experience?
So it's not about beating ourselves up for past mistakes,
Exactly.
but using those as learning experiences.
Yes, valuable learning opportunities.
I like that. And what about when you follow your intuition and it leads to something positive?
Yes, when you follow your intuition
Yeah.
and it leads to a positive outcome,
Uh-huh.
celebrate those wins.
Okay.
Write about how it felt to trust yourself,
Okay.
what you gained from that experience,
Right.
and how it strengthened your belief
Yeah.
in your own inner wisdom.
It's like creating a highlight reel of our intuitive successes.
Exactly.
I'm definitely going to start incorporating that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I struggle with is differentiating between a genuine intuitive nudge and just plain fear.
Right.
They feel so intertwined sometimes.
It's a common challenge.
Yeah.
And it is important to be able to discern between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, fear often masquerades as intuition,
Mm.
whispering warnings,
Yeah.
urging us to play it safe.
It's like that voice that says, don't do it, you'll fail. People will judge you.
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
while those warnings might be valid sometimes,
Yeah.
they can also keep us stuck
Yeah.
in our comfort zone
Yeah.
and prevent us from going after our dreams.
Yeah, that's true.
One key difference is that fear tends to be loud,
Okay.
urgent, even frantic,
Yeah.
often accompanied by physical sensations
Uh-huh.
like a racing heart or shallow breathing.
Yeah.
Intuition usually speaks
Yeah.
in a quieter, calmer tone,
Okay.
even if the message itself is urging you to take action.
So it's not just the message,
Right.
but the energy behind it.
Yeah.
Fear is like a blaring alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Intuition's more like a gentle nudge.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Another helpful distinction
Yeah.
is to consider the source
Okay.
of the message.
Right.
Is it coming from a place of love and expansion
Yeah.
or fear and contraction?
Yeah.
Fear-based messages tend to be restrictive,
Okay.
limiting,
Right.
designed to keep you small.
Right. Safe and small.
Intuitive guidance often feels aligned with your highest good,
Okay.
even if it challenges you to step outside of your comfort zone.
So if it feels like it's shrinking me down or keeping me stuck,
Yeah.
it's probably fear.
Right.
But if it feels expansive and aligned with my values,
Yeah.
even if it's a little scary, it's more likely my intuition.
You got it.
Yeah.
It takes practice,
Right.
but with time,
Yeah.
you'll be able to recognize those different flavors
Okay.
of fear and intuition.
Yeah.
And remember, if you're ever unsure,
Yeah.
it's always wise to err on the side of caution
Okay.
and seek support from trusted sources.
Good advice.
Yeah.
This is so helpful.
Yeah.
It's like we're developing a whole new set of tools for navigating life.
Yeah.
The source also mentioned visualization and daydreaming as ways to tap into our intuition. How do those practices fit in?
Visualization and daydreaming are incredibly powerful techniques.
Okay.
Because they allow you to kind of bypass the logical mind
Okay.
and tap into the wisdom of your subconscious.
Right.
We often receive intuitive insights through imagery, symbols, and feelings.
So it's not about forcing an answer,
Right.
but creating space
Yes.
for those intuitive flashes to emerge.
Exactly.
I love that.
It's much more organic.
Can you give an example
Yeah.
of how someone might use visualization to connect with their intuition?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
So let's say you're facing a decision about a new job offer. Instead of agonizing over the pros and cons,
Right.
you could try this. Find a quiet place.
Okay.
Close your eyes
Uh-huh.
and imagine yourself accepting the job.
Okay.
Really step into that reality.
Right.
What does it feel like to be in that new environment?
Okay.
Who are you interacting with?
Yeah.
What kind of work are you doing?
Yeah.
Notice the sensations that come up in your body.
Okay.
Do you feel excited and energized or stressed and overwhelmed?
That's so interesting.
Right.
And then would you do the same thing, imagining yourself declining the offer?
Exactly.
Okay.
See how it feels to stay in your current role or pursue other opportunities.
Right.
Pay attention to those subtle shifts in your energy
Okay.
and emotions.
Right.
Does one option feel more aligned with your purpose and well-being?
Okay.
Does one evoke a sense of dread or excitement?
So cool. It's like we're conducting an internal experiment.
Yes.
Gathering data from our own minds.
Exactly.
Wow, this is awesome.
And the more you practice this,
Yeah.
the more you begin to trust those cues
Okay.
and recognize the language of your intuition.
Uh-huh.
It's like strengthening a muscle.
Right.
The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
This is making me want to go home and make a vision board or something.
with that.
But before we get too carried away, what's the most important piece when it comes to reconnecting with our intuition?
If I had to choose one essential ingredient,
Okay.
it would be trust.
Okay.
Trust in yourself.
Right.
Trust in your own inner wisdom.
Uh-huh.
And trust in the process of unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to get caught up in self-doubt
Yeah,
and second-guessing,
it's true.
especially when those intuitive nudges don't always make logical sense.
Especially in a world that values data and evidence.
Right.
It feels like you need to have all the answers before you can trust your gut.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Okay.
Intuition often operates outside the realm of logic.
Okay.
It's a deeper knowing
Uh-huh.
that taps into a wisdom beyond the rational mind.
Okay.
Sometimes the most courageous act
Yeah.
is to simply trust that inner voice,
Yeah.
even when we don't have all the answers.
It's like taking a leap of faith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trusting that the net will appear.
Yeah, I like that.
And the more you practice trusting those nudges, even in small ways,
Yeah.
the more confident you'll become
Right.
in your ability to make aligned decisions.
Yeah.
Remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
Be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Celebrate your wins.
Mm-hmm.
And allow yourself to learn and grow along the way.
This has been so insightful.
Good. I'm glad.
I feel more connected to my own intuition already.
Yeah.
I think our listeners are going to have a lot to experiment with. Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
are there any other practices
Sure.
or resources you'd recommend?
In addition to the things we've talked about, I'd recommend things like journaling,
Okay.
spending time in nature,
Right.
engaging in creative activities.
Okay.
Those allow you to tap into your imagination
Yeah.
and express yourself freely
That makes sense.
These practices can help you develop a deeper connection to your inner world.
Okay.
Cultivate a sense of presence and awareness.
I love those suggestions. And there are so many books and podcast workshops available now
There are
on intuition.
so many.
It's really about finding what works for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What fits into your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
It's about creating a personalized toolkit for intuitive development.
Okay.
And remember, the most important thing
Yeah.
is to approach this with a sense of curiosity, playfulness, and self-compassion.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the process and trusting that we have all the wisdom we need within us.
Absolutely.
So well said.
Thank you.
I think it's time to wrap up this part
Okay.
of our deep dive into intuition. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground
We have
in our exploration of intuition.
Yeah.
It's exciting to think about all the different ways that we can tap into that inner wisdom and make more aligned decisions.
Absolutely.
But I'm thinking our listener might be a little overwhelmed by all this information.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So where would you suggest they start?
Well, you're right. It can feel like a lot to take in.
Right?
But, reconnecting with your intuition is a journey,
Yeah.
not a race.
Okay.
There's no need to rush
Right,
or try to master everything at once.
Yeah, that's true.
If I had to choose one foundational practice,
Okay.
it would be cultivating stillness.
That makes sense. We talked about how our world is so noisy and chaotic, both externally and internally.
Right.
It's like we're constantly being bombarded.
Yeah, with stimulus.
Leaving little room for that quiet inner voice to come through.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to have a conversation with a friend
Okay.
in a crowded, noisy room.
Yeah.
It'd be almost impossible to hear what they were saying.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the same with our intuition.
Okay.
Those whispers of wisdom are always there,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to create a space of quiet receptivity
Right.
to really perceive them.
So carving out time for meditation,
Yeah.
mindfulness,
Yeah.
unplugging from technology.
Exactly.
Anything that helps us shift
Yeah.
out of that doing mode and into being.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even just 5 or 10 minutes
Yeah.
a day
Mm-hmm.
of dedicated quiet time
Mm-hmm.
can make a profound difference.
That's true.
Find a practice that resonates with you
Yeah.
and make it a non-negotiable part of your routine,
Oh, okay.
like a sacred appointment with yourself,
I love that.
a time to nourish your inner landscape.
That's a beautiful way to frame it.
Yeah.
I love that idea of it being non-negotiable.
Uh-huh.
It's so easy to let those self-care practices slide,
It is.
but if we prioritize them as essential,
Right.
we're more likely to make them happen.
Exactly.
Okay, so we start with stillness.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next step?
Once you've begun to cultivate that inner quietude,
Okay.
start paying closer attention to your body's signals.
Okay.
We talked about the gut-brain connection,
Right.
how our bodies are always communicating with us,
Mm-hmm.
but we often override those messages.
Yeah, with logic.
With our logical minds, it's time to start listening
It's true.
to those whispers of wisdom
Yeah.
that are arising from within.
It's like we've been ignoring those subtle cues for so long.
Uh-huh.
We've forgotten how to recognize them.
It happens.
How do we tune back in?
Think of it like becoming a detective,
Okay.
gathering clues from the landscape of your body.
I like that.
Throughout the day, just pause for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Notice what you're feeling physically.
Okay.
Are your muscles tense or relaxed?
Mm-hmm.
Is your breath shallow or deep?
Right.
Do you feel a sense of warmth or constriction in your chest?
Okay.
Are there any areas of your body that
Mhm.
feel particularly energized or depleted?
So we're not just paying attention to those big gut feelings,
Right.
but those subtle nuances of sensation.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And as you practice this kind of embodied awareness,
Yeah.
you might notice patterns emerging.
Okay.
Perhaps you realize certain people or environments
Mm-hmm.
make you feel energized, while others leave you feeling drained.
Right.
Or maybe you discover that you consistently feel a knot in your stomach
Oh, yeah.
when you're about to make a decision that isn't aligned with your values.
Those are such good examples.
Yeah.
It's like we're learning to read our body's language
You got it.
and use that to guide us
Yeah,
towards greater well-being.
exactly.
What about when we're faced with a big decision
Mm-hmm.
and we're not sure which path to take?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How can we use our intuition to guide us in those moments?
One powerful technique is to simply ask.
Really?
It might sound too simple,
Okay.
but believe me, it works.
Okay.
Find a quiet space, relax, and tune into your body.
Hmm.
Then ask a clear and concise question to your intuition.
Okay.
For example, what is the most aligned choice for me?
Okay.
Or what do I need to know to make the best decision?
So it's like we're having a direct conversation with our intuition. Exactly. Seeking guidance from within.
Yes.
How do we best receive those insights?
Be open and receptive
Okay.
to however those answers come.
Right.
They could be a flash of knowing,
Okay.
a gentle nudge, a feeling in your body, a symbolic image,
Yeah.
or even a phrase or song you hear.
Oh, wow.
Be open to it.
Okay.
So it's not always a clear and definitive answer,
Yeah.
but a subtle guidance.
Okay.
The more you practice listening,
Yeah.
the easier it will be
Okay.
to discern those messages from the background noise of your mind.
Right.
Trust that the answers you seek are already within you.
I like that it's reassuring
Yeah.
to know that we have this incredible internal compass
Right.
that's always guiding us.
Yeah.
As we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
I keep coming back to the theme of trust.
Yeah.
Trusting ourselves, trusting our intuition. That
Mhm.
seems to be the foundation for everything.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Trust is the key
Yeah.
that unlocks the door to our intuitive wisdom.
Okay.
And it's a muscle that grows stronger with each act of courage.
Right.
Every time we listen to that voice,
Yeah.
even when it challenges us
Mm-hmm.
or pushes us outside our comfort zone.
This has been such a great conversation.
It has.
I feel like I have so many
Well said.
valuable insights and tools.
I'm glad.
Any final words of wisdom?
Embrace the journey with curiosity, patience, and self-compassion.
Okay.
There will be times when you feel clear and connected,
Mm-hmm.
other times when you feel lost.
Right.
That's all part of the process.
Yeah.
Trust that you're exactly where you need to be
Okay.
and that each step is leading you closer to your truth.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And remember, your intuition is a gift,
It
a
is.
superpower
Yes,
that's always available to you.
it is.
Nurture it, trust it, and watch your life transform.
I love that.
That's it for this deep dive into intuition. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.